So that's how I work. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen here. It'll let me do that. Yep. And we will start. Share screen. Just kidding. Okay. Here we go. Present. Okay. So mastering mindset, conquering those demons, because they can be major demons. Can you guys see the screen?
Yes.
Okay. Just making sure. All right. So these are things that we need to stop doing in order to move forward and to get over limiting beliefs. A lot of this is stuff that I have been through myself. So I'm just passing on kind of what I've dealt with and gotten through and what's helped me. So I realized I had a lot of limiting beliefs on myself that was stopping me from moving forward in my business and, in life in general. So the first one is to stop the negative self-talk. And that could be anything from like, yeah, that coach is doing great, but I'm not as pretty as her. Or I'm not as fit as that guy. Or I don't have this great big following, okay? But it can also be something small, like somebody giving you a compliment, and instead of saying thank you, you say something like, oh no, I hate this, or this is not cute. So just pushing past that, just putting yourself down. And something I love, Shalene Johnson says, is she says, that's not true. She says, I say that to myself when I think something negative. I just say, that's not true. And I found myself doing that when I think something, just saying, that's not true. Because the more you tell yourself something, the more you believe it. It's like a self-fulfilling prophecy. So stop talking to yourself negatively. You have everything you need to be successful. And you're an amazing person. The next one is to stop overthinking, which I'm so guilty of, and it's just that perfectionism mindset that everything has to be perfect before you can use it or take action. So imperfect action is greater than perfect inaction, if that makes sense. And as you take action and as you see results, even if it's not perfect when you put it up there, you're going to build up your confidence, and you're going to see some results. And you know what? If it sucks and it was terrible, then you learned from that, right? It's failing forward. So put something out there and stop waiting for it to be perfect, or for the right time, or to lose weight, or to get to the size you want to be. Just do it now, take action, stop overthinking it, and post scary, vulnerable statuses, because that's what helps people relate to you and see you as a person. When you tell them something hard that you have been through and that you have come out the other side of, someone who is also maybe going through that same thing right now is going to get a little bit of hope from you and think, maybe this person can help me, and may start a conversation with you. So stop thinking, put it out there, and, push for those scary moments. I did a live video about this, that when something is scary, it usually means that you need to do it. And no, I'm not saying like crazy stuff, but your brain has this reaction to when you get out of your comfort zone, that it's like, stop, 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 caution, caution, don't go here. Because it's out of your comfort zone, it's not something that your brain is like, we can do this easily. So it kind of like pushes against you. So you just have to overcome that, and just seek out those feelings of like butterflies. this is really scary and I'm not sure I want to let people in on this, go for it. Okay. And next, stop the comparison game. Woo, I'm guilty of this one. Don't be mad at other people's success. So just because someone else is successful does not mean that you are not successful or that you can't be successful. So stop looking at someone else and letting that define you or define your journey, because they are on a completely different journey than you, and you just kind of have to let that go. If they are farther advanced than you, you don't know, and this is with like social media, everything, you don't know what else is going on in that person's life, or you don't know what all they've been through, or you don't know how hard they've worked. So what you're seeing is the highlight reel. You never know, somebody could be looking at you and comparing themselves to you and feeling the same way, and you're like, you have no idea what I've been doing. So be grateful and celebrate other people's successes. Celebrate your team members. So like when Greg announces people that have advanced or top producers or whatever, celebrate that and congratulate them, and just really let that be a sign that this is possible, that it can happen, and it is happening. So it's not something that's unattainable. I'm checking my notes here. Yes, good. Okay, and then just keep your focus on you. Focus on you and what you're doing. One of my slogans in second grade is worry about yourself, because they're always worried about what everybody else is doing. So I'm always like, if you worried about yourself and she's worried about herself, then we're all going to be fine. Okay? Don't worry about what so-and-so's doing over there. You worry about yourself. Enjoy your journey and enjoy the process. And this is something that I really had to learn a month or so ago, that I just wasn't happy with where I was. And I really was like, somebody asked me, do you think that you'll be happy? Do you think that you'll be satisfied when you get to your goal? And I said, yes. And, she kind of came back at me with like, do you really think that? Or do you think that you'll still be striving for more? And the truth is that we're always going to be striving for more, because that's the kind of people that we are. And that's why we're doing this right now. We're not ever going to be complacent. So enjoy the journey, enjoy where you are on the journey, and be grateful for how far you've come so far. And don't compare that to somebody else's journey or somebody's where they are. Okay, last limitation that we need to get over is making excuses. So your why has to be bigger than your excuses, because you guys, we could all have excuses for everything. We can make excuses for why we didn't work out. We can make excuses for why we didn't eat healthy. We can make excuses for why we didn't hit Success Club. But all three of those are things that are going to make our lives better in different ways. And you just have to think, like, what is my goal? Like, what am I striving for? What is my why? Why am I doing this? Why am I working out? Why am I eating healthy? Why do I want to hit Success Club? Who cares? And you have to look at that. Well, it's because I want to quit my job. It's because I want to live a life of freedom. It's because I want to stay home with my kids. And you just have to think about and put that why above your excuses and above your, I don't know what another word is for that, but just like complaining about not being where you want to be. I get really frustrated with some people, mainly my mom, who complains and fusses about her health all the time, but she's not willing to do anything to change it. So I'm like, listen, Mom, if you want things to be different, if you really want this, then you have to change how you eat. You have to move more, you know. But if you're not willing to make those changes and to take that action, then you're not allowed to make excuses. Some little tough love there for you. That's about as tough as I get. So that's pretty much your limiting beliefs that most people face, and we just have to get over those if we're going to move forward in this business as coaches. And these are things that you can use with your customers, with your clients as well, because these can be roadblocks in health journeys also. So you can apply this other places. Share your story, share what you're going through. Instead of making it a negative, turn it into a positive. And how can I share this? And how can I help someone else with what I'm going through? Got it? Okay, let's move on here. Oh, boop. My thing's not moving. Hold on. Next slide. There we go. Okay, time to up level. So I put this slide on here because I'm in some groups with people who are like life coaches and money coaches and stuff besides Beachbody coaches. And everybody kept saying up level. I'm up leveling, or it's time to up level. And I'm like, what does that mean? So I don't know if you guys know what that means. But it's just like taking your vibe up, like going from where you are, like just raising the lid. So I don't know if you know the law of the lid from John Maxwell. Just moving it up. Like, I'm not going to stay stuck here. I'm going up, and who's coming with me? So I love this saying now, up level. So I might use it a lot. So it's time to up level. We're past our excuses. Where are we going? So one thing I learned is mindset can't be something that you just do and you just check it off and say, okay, I did my mindset for the day. It has to be like an ongoing practice. It has to be all day long. It has to be every day. It has to be a state of mind, mindset, state of mind, right? So I'm just looking at my notes here. It's important to have a daily mindset practice. Do you have one? Miracle Morning, I'm sure a lot of you guys have read that, but that totally changed my life as far as mindset practice goes. And that's only a morning practice, but it got my day started right. And that's kind of where I start my day is with that. And I'll go over a little bit with that on the next slide. So you want to make a complete mindset shift. Instead of thinking negatively, go to the positive. How can I make this good? And I'm really big on gratitude. I share that a lot on my page, is that just finding gratitude in every situation. One of my favorite stories is from 1,000 Gifts by Ann Voskamp. I don't know if anybody's read that, but it's really great. She set on a mission to write down 1,000 gifts. And she talks about a story about where her two sons were fighting, like almost fist fighting, over a piece of toast coming out of the toaster. Okay, so the toaster popped up and the boys are fighting over the toast. And she's like, oh, how am I gonna seek gratitude in this? And so she said, thank you for the toast. Thank you that we have toast. And wrote that down as her gratitude in that moment. Because you know what? They could not have toast, and they could not have that to be fighting over. So find what is good in whatever's going on in your life, or whatever you're struggling with. Find what is good, or find how you can make it good. There's my rant on gratitude. Needs to be all day, not just in the mornings. So I put in this last bit about pick yourself back up after the no's, the rejections, the unfollows. It happens. Because today on my Instagram, I realized I had lost like 7 or 8 followers in one swoop fail. And I'm not really sure. I think it's because I posted I was going to do a sugar detox group in a week. So I guess that turned some people off. And at first I was like, well, that stinks. Like why did they unfollow me? What did I do wrong? So I go back and look through my like posts, like racking my brain, like how could I have made this better? Like how did this run people off? Was I rude? Was I hateful? Was I shaming? And I looked at it and I'm like, no, I was simply inviting people to join me in a free group and inviting them to invite their friends and offering a giveaway. There's nothing bad there. So like when you get the unfollows or you, unfollows, unlikes, I want you to think of that as a blessing in disguise, because that just shows that you are more you're targeting the people who want to be with you, who want to get in your car, as Shilling Johnson says. She says, you want people in your car. You start off with them as followers, and then you want, at some point, some people have to get out of the car because they're not in it for the long haul. They're not people you want to go on a road trip with. They might be people you want to go to the gas station with down the road, but you want to be with the people who relate to you and who you guys are on the same vibe. Your vibe attracts your tribe. So be grateful for those unfollows and for those rejections. Those people aren't ready sometimes, and that's okay. That's nothing personal. When people say no, don't take it personally. That was a huge roadblock for me for years. The first 2 years I was coaching, when I would get a no, or if people would ignore me, like it would shut me down. Like I just quit. I would just turn off my computer, stop posting on Facebook, stop sharing my workouts, stop sharing positive, encouraging things, because I felt rejected. And I felt like either people were mad at me for asking them, or people were making fun of me, or people thought I was stupid or thought it was ridiculous what I was doing. And I've learned that it's not personal, that it's usually when people tell you no, it has to do with them and their limiting beliefs and their roadblocks. So our job is to get them through those roadblocks and get back to their why, which is part of our mindset practice, right? So those things happen, and it's just a fact of life. So let them happen. Let it, you can let it hit for a minute, but then brush it off and keep moving. Because if you stop, like I did, think of the people that you are neglecting, that maybe people who really look forward to your motivating posts every day. And they may never like your posts, and they may never comment, and you may not even know that they're watching you. But maybe sometimes your posts help them get through the day, or the words you say, or just seeing that you worked out encourages them to work out. And they may follow you for like a year before they finally tell you, hey, I've been watching you and I love what you do and thank you. And that is the best feeling. Even if you've never even they've never bought anything from you and that you've never actually been their coach, just knowing that you are making a difference and people are seeing you, it means you're doing something right. So let's move on here. Okay, so my savers that I use, this is part of my mindset practice, and some things that you guys might take some of this, you might make it your own. But these are some things that really help me when I'm feeling negative and off put and overwhelmed and all those uncomfortable feelings that we get sometimes. So SAVERS is the acronym. So you want to start with silence, and that can be meditation, prayer, devotional, whatever you choose to do for your spiritual practice. I usually start with a meditation because when I wake up, I don't want to feel like rushed. So I try. I heard you guys talking about early mornings earlier. I try to get up by 5:30. It used to be 5 o'clock and it's drifted to 5:30. So I'm not taking as much time as I used to. And it was really a lot better when I'd get up earlier. Which is another reason that I want freedom to not have to go to work in the morning. So I won't have to get up at 5 a.m. So there's part of my why. So I start off with a 10-minute meditation. You can get any apps online or on your phone. Insight Timer is the one I use. It's free. It has guided meditations on there that can talk you through things like you're struggling with, or it can have unguided, which is usually just music or like sounds, relaxing, and it'll have a timer that lets you know when your time's up. So I won't try to explain to you guys how to meditate because that's not my best thing. That's not my profession. But you can, Headspace is really great. They've got a free 10-day trial, and that's really where I got my start. It's called Headspace, one word. The guy was a monk at some point, and he created this app. So it's really good. The next one is affirmations, and I put /EFT. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of EFT, but it's tapping. You can look it up on YouTube. Again, I don't do this every day, but when I'm feeling particularly anxious, anxiety is something that I struggle with personally. I don't struggle with it as much as I used to since I've started all this beating my brain with positive mindset stuff. But EFT is just tapping on certain points on your body, and you say affirmations. And there's some science behind the points that you're tapping gets it to your brain. So look that up on YouTube if you're curious. If you get overwhelmed easily or have really negative thoughts sometimes, it's really helped me. So I wanted to throw that in there just in case you guys have never heard of it. I have a friend that is an EFT coach, so that's how I found out. So affirmations, you want to use I am statements. So maybe you don't feel this way, but the more you say it, like I said, the more you say it, the more you believe it. So I am confident. I am a leader. I am happy. I use these with my students too, and it makes a difference with them. So those are the couple that we use at school. You could say, I am capable of leading a successful team. I am an elite coach. I am a diamond coach. Say what you want to be true. Make it true. Speak it into existence. Okay? There is science behind this. I used to think this was all woo-woo, but there's neuroscience behind this. So I can share that if you want me to later. And then these even though blank I am statements I just learned about. So even though I'm scared, I will persevere. Or even though this is overwhelming, I will get through it, or I will succeed. And there are different ones. That's a big EFT. Those statements are EFT. But you can say it without the EFT. And I usually write my affirmations in my journal in the morning. Visualization is just closing your eyes, imagine your day playing out. If you could have the perfect day, what would it look like? And just playing that out in your brain and seeing it through. I know that athletes use this before a big game. When I used to be a competitive cheerleader, our coach had us close our eyes. We'd listen to our music for our routine, and we had to imagine hitting every stunt perfectly and doing all of our cheers and tumbling passes, and just seeing it playing out perfectly. It just convinces you that that's how it's going to work. Exercise, of course, we all do that. I'm not going to talk about that one anymore. Is E. Reading, personal development. You want to read something positive to get you going in the morning. And guys, if you can't find yourself not knowing what to post, I think Angie Belmar said this on her thing, but I was like, that's so true. If you don't know what to post, you need to do more personal development, because whatever you are reading in your personal development or listening to should give you some ideas and should be like, ding, light bulb moments. Like, that's really great. I want to share that with my audience. So personal development is where I get a lot of my ideas also. And the last S is scribing. So that's just writing in your journal. So you can make it like a journal, like a diary, like how am I feeling, what's going on. Sometimes I do that. You can make a to-do list, which I usually do in my planner, and gratitudes, daily gratitudes. So I do that. Also, I try to do 5. And I usually do my gratitudes at night, though, instead of in the morning. So that's my savers. I'm not sure if I have another slide. I think I do. Yep, there it is. So like I said earlier, it has to be a lifestyle change, not just a to-do. So it's like with anything in the health and fitness world, you can't just do it once and be done. It has to be ongoing. And that's especially like I said, with the anxiety that I have, or depression, anything like that, or just being a human being. You want to have this, like, that's just part of your lifestyle. That's just like how it is. So it's not something that you read a positive book and then you're good forever. So you have to want to do it every single day. Take a time out when you're feeling overwhelmed or hopeless. Today at school, I was really stressed out, and during my planning time, I sat down on the floor and I turned on my meditation app and I took 5 minutes, and I felt so much better because I was just feeling really frazzled. So that helped me get through that. Breathe deep, count to 10, be self-aware, name it. So what that just means is, and this is something I got from Brené Brown. I love her stuff for personal development. It's a little bit more personal than professional. But if you are worrying, if you know that you're worrying about something, you need to name it. You need to say, I'm worrying. Or just, you don't have to say it out loud, but recognize what's going on. Because I know in the past, when I really struggled with this, I would be so anxious. And I didn't even know why I was anxious. I couldn't even remember what had put me in that tailspin. So as soon as you recognize it, name it so that you can move on. Okay, I'm worrying. And a lot of times when you do that, you realize you're doing it. It makes it easier to move on to the next thing. So the bottom, personal development, personal development, personal development. We're going to beat into your brain. That's one of the 4 vital behaviors. It's weird to say 4 vital behaviors because it was 3 for so long. But if you do nothing else, please do your personal development. And I think that's it on my slides. You guys have any questions? Let me exit out of this. I feel like I kind of flew through that. I talk fast sometimes when I'm nervous. Sorry. Stop share. All right.
I know one of the things that I didn't see on there, but is often helpful, is to talk to somebody else, right? If you're feeling anxious, scared, because I know you reached out to me like a month ago when you were struggling. Hopefully it helped to talk, right, to somebody.
Definitely, yes. I did not post that, but that's very true. Reach out to a friend, another coach, or just a friend.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So we still have time. So what are some other tips that anybody else has for how do you handle mindset struggles, other tips that Niki didn't cover?
Oh, something else I wrote down I didn't share. You guys can talk, I promise. So when you go after a big goal, know that you will, I don't want to say be tested, but know that it's going to be hard. It's not going to be like, whew, that was smooth sailing. So know that things may come up. Know that before you take on that goal. But just persevere, like just push through it. Be like, I knew this was going to happen, but I'm not giving up because I have set this goal. So have patience and persevere and keep going.
Awesome. Thanks, Niki.
You're welcome.
Not that you have to be done, just.
No, I'm done.
I could add to some of Niki's stuff as far as like posting. If you can't find anything posting, you're not doing personal development. What are you going through in life? Something funny. Somebody got an attitude at the line. Anything that you're doing, because it's gonna relate to somebody else that's watching you. Just because you're constantly posting about business, a Beachbody, or your workout, or Shakeology, they're gonna be like, eh. But the minute that you post something that's aside from that, you'll see a lot of engagement, because that's what's going on with me. I was always doing my post of my workout, and that's only to keep myself accountable. But talking to John, he's like, oh, put some funny memes and, stuff that's going through life and the car rider lane and, funny stuff. And there's like constant engagement on every post. So people are watching you. So the minute that you can relate to them, you can build conversation privately in a private message and then go from there, not jumping into trying to get them in, to try Shakeology or even one of your groups. But the better conversation you can carry on, then they'll feel more of a connection with you. And then you could slip in that, hey, I'm doing a free challenge, or whatever you're doing to get them in. Mm-hmm. So that's another thing. Like, don't bore people with your post, and just throw some funny stuff out there. And I think if you post something that's inappropriate, you get so many attractions. Or you post something that has like unhealthy food, it's like everybody's on it.
Yeah.
So, make it fun.
Yeah, I know that that there's like three groups of people, right? As far as mindset goes, there's the negative Nellies, right? The ones like you'll see it in the coaching community, you'll see it at work, right? You'll see the people that will suck the life out of you, right? If you're hanging around them, right? They're always negative. They're looking, like Brian, for example. No, I'm just kidding. No, and then there's the group in the middle that just kind of goes along, right? If things are like, in the crapper, well, they're going to get on that bus, right? And they're just going to go along with the negative Nellies, right? Or if things are going okay, they're going to get on that bus and go along with that, right? And then there's the group of people, right, which we all want to strive to be, and that's the positive mindset people, right? The people who do all the techniques that Niki talked about to get our minds right so that we can inspire and motivate and coach people, right? That's who we want to be, and that's why we want to do that personal development, because we have to get our minds right. Otherwise, we're going to be the negative Nellies, and who's going to want to follow us, right? Who's going to want for us to be their coach, right? So one thing that I always try to do is, whether it was at work or coaching or whatever, family, separate yourselves from the negative Nellies, right? From that negative group, try to hang around with the positive people, right? If the people, like who, I think Eric Worre says, you are going to be the average, right, of the 5 people that you spend the most time with, right? So if you spend the most time with, like I tell my daughters all the time, if you hang around with druggies and alcoholics and, bums, then you're going to end up being just like them, right? But if you hang around with positive people who are doing something with their lives, who are trying to better themselves, if you hang around with coaches who are successful, right? And you attend these calls and things like that, well, then you're going to be successful yourself, right? So, so anyway, that was just something that I thought of there. Who else? Stephanie, I know you struggle with things. How do you overcome some of your...
I've been doing a lot of more from just my business page than my personal page. And I think part of it is because I know so many coaches that it's just overwhelming to me on my personal page. So if I'm becoming overwhelmed on my own personal page, then I know like what my friends are probably, because we have a lot of mutual friends. So I've kind of moved towards more of my business page, and I'm just being more open, and actually just did a mindset post without even thinking about it tonight about how I've been trying, since I had this diagnosis, I've been really trying and focusing more in changing my mindset and not letting this be a control of me right now. And so I just think it's important. Like, I agree with what Armando said. It's really nice when I try and put out like various posts, even on my personal page, that's not even workout related. Or I think it was Corey who posted in the Team Engage page, like, don't mention anything about Beachbody. Even if you say you work out, don't mention anything about what you're doing or who you're doing, what trainer you're using or anything like that. And I did that actually. You and I talked about it. I did that through the whole Hammer and Chisel program. I didn't mention anything on my personal page about what program I was doing or anything like that. And I got a lot more feedback when I posted my before and after picture than any other time when I've put out there and spewed, I'm working out with Sagi right now, Body Beast or whatever. So I'm really working more on changing my own mindset right now. That's been like my last 3 weeks. So it's been working. No Success Club points, but it's been working.
Yeah.
More feedback. So it's going to be a slow and steady race journey for me. And I know I'll be successful eventually. So I actually wrote it down, so I know it will happen.
Okay, great. Jessica, you look like you're going to say something.
It's kind of an epiphany I have had recently where I have struggled a lot I've been a coach for about 2.5 years, and it seems like I'm always struggling to overcome the same crap. And I realized recently that I was trying to fix the wrong thing. I kept thinking that if I could become a better coach and find success in coaching, that it would fix everything else that I was unhappy about in my life. So I realized though that I was trying to fix the wrong issue. And so my issue laid more so in my marriage. And I've noticed that in the last month since we've both put on our big girl and big boy panties to address, communication issues and try to have a better, healthier marriage, all of a sudden coaching has been a blast. And I'm sure some of that has to do with just the time of year, but I know I had posted in the Business Builders chat, this is the first time I've ever hit Success Club 10 by the 10th, and my groups have been amazing, and I'm having fun, and I'm enjoying talking to people. And I think it's important sometimes if you feel like you're constantly beating your head against the same stuff to maybe realize that you're trying to fix the wrong thing. I thought that I could fix being unhappy by coaching, but by fixing where I was actually unhappy, it's making coaching easier. That's a little touchy-feely, but it's been huge for me.
Yeah, that's very interesting. Yeah, that's an interesting perspective there. So thanks for sharing. Who else? Brian, you have something you want to share? Always.
He's quiet. I don't think I've ever heard him not have something to say.
He's pretending.
I'm trying to get into the right mindset to share. No, I something that I used to do when going through a lot of, like Niki talked about, a lot of those negative thoughts. And I've talked to Greg personally, lots of times, that either stuff's not working, I'm not good enough. Hey, I don't deserve it. Even when you are successful a little bit, it's like, I don't deserve this, just those negative thoughts. And then sometimes, they get really bad, but the way that I overcame that, or I try to overcome that, is that, well, in the past, what I would do was shut down, and then all of a sudden, pull back from my groups, pull back from team calls, not listen to the wake up, just the vital behaviors, just kind of isolate myself. And now when I get those feelings,
Yeah.
I instead, I want to throw myself into everything even more. It's kind of like my weapon against those negative thoughts, to get into that right mindset. So, it's like, where's there a call? Is there a call going on? I got to be on there. It's like, is Greg home? It's 2:00. I got to call Greg because I just need to hear his lovely voice. But just, are my team, where's, I got to talk to people on my team. I got to, do even more. And I guess the times where I don't feel like doing anything are the times where I have to do as much as I can. And since doing that, it kind of gets me into that right mindset. And it doesn't happen like instantly, it's like, you guys know, you get those blues, they don't go away in like an hour, right? It's like days sometimes where you're just like, and then you just keep working to get into that right mindset, and eventually it happens.
Yeah, I hear you. I mean, it affects me too. I mean, last fall was pretty slow with Beachbody. I guess you guys have seen that, right? I mean, and I had a bunch of coaches that said they were, taking a step back. I really don't understand what that means. What does that mean? You're not taking a step back. Basically, just call it what it is. You're basically you're going to quit. You're going to do nothing, right? That's what taking a step back means. But anyway, I had a bunch of coaches that were telling me this, right? And who weren't working and who weren't excited, like Jessica, right, said, about Beachbody and about coaching. And yeah, I went to that GoPro with Tony Robbins, and that really changed things for me, right? Because I was feeling sad or sorry for myself, or some feeling frustrated that I couldn't fix the situation. And one of my coaches, Kelly, was there, and she said, Greg, you just have a negative energy, and after that Tony Robbins, event, it just totally changed things for me. I just released it. I said, I can only do what I can do. Let's, refocus my mindset, refocus, our team, and get things, back on track. So it's, that was a key thing for me, and a key turning point for me. Attending events, that's huge, right? And it was also personal development. So it was both personal development, and it was an event, and it was getting together with like-minded people, which was huge. So anyway, let's wrap up. Unless anybody else has anything else, we will go ahead and end the call. And I appreciate you guys hopping on, and I will see you next week. All right, let's have a great week.
Happy Valentine's Day.
Yes. Thank you, Niki. Thank you, Greg.
Thanks,
Thank you,
Niki.
guys.
Yep. Thanks, Nick.
Thank you, everyone. Thanks.